Yo, what's up? It's King Steph, and this video is going to be a pretty fun one for me to do. Anime games have been the definition of hit or miss. Mostly misses. And that JJK game is going to come eventually sometime soon. Probably, I would not be surprised if it's next year, by the end of that year. And I feel like the reason we haven't got one is because A, they don't know what type of game they want to be, and B, what company is going to be in charge of doing it. And I'm going to go over the pros and cons of what company and style of games that would best fit JJK, and pretty much at the end pick who I believe would do the best job at taking this game and making it into the best possible thing it can be. Now, first off, we got CyberConnect 2. They did the Storm series. Obviously, they got the Demon Slayer game, the JoJo All-Star Battle game that is getting a remake, and as well as the Kakarot, which is their kind of solo story focused mode. And one thing about CyberConnect 2 that is going to always be there is they have great visuals. They have great cinematic shots, great cinematic scenes where they kind of go over the story of past animes and kind of recreate them. They always look good, especially Storm series. They nailed it out the park with that. And even some of the Demon Slayer cut scenes, they looked amazing, especially the Rengoku Akaza one. Some of those scenes, they almost look like they came right out of the anime. So in terms of that, the story side of things, CyberConnect 2 is going to do a great job. Now, they also will make it easy for casuals to get into this because they typically don't make difficult games in terms of gameplay. They normally go at a route that's pretty simple for casuals to pick up, which I'm actually not against, because you kind of want a game that's pretty easy to pick up with your friends. Sometimes you want to tell them, hey, let's try this game out. And hey, let's just, sometimes mashing buttons and eventually figuring out what you want to do is pretty fun, So I'm not really totally against it. Now we got to go over the big thing that CyberConnect 2 has kind of never been great with, and that is the online scene. When it comes to the netcode, we all know CyberConnect is pretty bad. The lag or delay can be something absolutely just hard to deal with, especially since they really don't address it at all, no matter what game it is, especially in the Demon Slayer one, where the online scene is kind of struggling. There are people still playing it, but compared to day one, obviously people have just dropped off from it, and the delays and then the non-updates, it's almost as if they don't really care about it. It was, let's be honest, most of CyberConnect 2 recently has basically them been dropping kind of like cash grabs. That's basically what they've been doing. I'm just not a big fan of it, and it kind of just kills the lifespan of a game. As for CyberConnect 2, I just can't go with them in terms of making a Jujutsu Kaisen game, because the off chance they make this game and after 2 months it's dead, I'm just not going to be cool with. Now, the other ones I want to touch on real quick are kind of like 3D fighters. I couldn't really come up with one company, so I'm kind of just going to come up with one big style that I've seen. Obviously, we have the arena fighters, but more so kind of like these 3D-esque type arena fighters. One's Justice. I don't think that will work at all with Jujutsu Kaisen, so we're going to rule them out of there. But a game I feel like if they go this route, I actually wouldn't be against. But it really only captures the one side of Jujutsu Kaisen's power system, that being the close combat, the martial arts. And that's kind of as if they went like a Tekken route. Because Jujutsu Kaisen has a lot of martial arts influence based characters. And although a 3D kind of style like that would work in terms of just the fighting aspect, but kind of implementing the curse techniques and the domains and some of these other things I feel like would be cool to implement just wouldn't work at all. So I think a 3D arena fighter, or just any arena fighter type, just in general, just would not work, and just kind of would put big limitations on this game. But the one I've come up with, it is probably the most popular fighting game company, Arc System Works. No surprise, no shock. This is the company I want doing it. We know that they're known for Fighters, the Guilty Gear series, DNF Duel, and Persona 4 Ultimate Max, the ones I really want to point out. Now, fighting games, Arc System Works, they have all the experience in the world, even as well as some like gimmicky fighting type style games implemented in there. They have their own great visuals. I'm not a big fan of their cutscenes per se when it comes to kind of like ultimates or things of that nature. Not really the biggest fan, because you can kind of see like the little frame delays in there, but it's nothing to really go crazy about, especially when everything else runs well. Online community, they are pretty consistent about buffs, increasing the nerfs, kind of having events going, kind of checking out, see what's going on in the community. They're pretty consistent with that, so I have to give them credit for that as well. And there is one thing about the online scene which is kind of be annoying with Arc System Works. They have these lobbies that are kind of overcomplicated at times, especially with Guilty Gear Strive with the whole like elevator system. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just not a fan of that. I feel like it's doing a little too much, especially for the ranked side of things and the casual side. Kind of finding an opponent can kind of be a chore when it comes to just how everything is set up. But the style of game I think Arc System Works would use for JJK would not be a fighter's style, but I'm actually gonna go with the Persona 4 Ultimax style of games. Wondering why? If you've ever played Persona style or the Persona Ultimax game, there are characters that have certain gimmicks implemented in their movesets. And one I want to point out is Junpei. He has like a whole baseball system. I know some people call it like extremely like overcomplicated as to how it works. You can say that about a lot of Jujutsu Kaisen techniques if you were to ask like a regular casual fan, but it's really simple, especially with the whole baseball scheme. That's how it works. And I can just envision a lot of characters kind of having their own gimmick or style to fight. Like they still have, which is great about Persona 4, you still have those fundamentals of a fighting game like a grappler, a rushdown, a neutral person, a mid-range fighter, a long-range zoner. You'll still have that with their own gimmicks implemented in there to fit the character, but it won't also add, it won't give them an advantage of some sort. Now, one thing I think that's cool, for example, like Junpei, I'm going to use him again. He has this 10 run system where if you get 10 runs, like you swing the bat like and connect like 10 times, you get this increase in like, you get like a cool little buff. I think his moves come out quicker. His special hits a little harder. Like it's that type of thing, but it's not overpowered to where it's easy for him to get, especially online. People know about it, so that's the whole thing going against him. But it's still really cool that he has that, and it makes him unique as a character. Now, just imagine, for example, like a domain expansion, and I'm kind of gonna have to use Fighters for this one as well. Fighters has obviously the combo system of gaining a Dragon Ball, hit the basic combos. After you get 7 Dragon Balls, eventually Shinron's gonna come up, and you can get like a character back, you can get your health back, etc. Or I think you can do more damage as one of the outputs. Now imagine something like that, or something like that for Persona 4, and just imagine like a similar system to that with Jujutsu Kaisen. Now imagine you have Gojo, he activates his domain, he meets the requirements of his gimmick or whatever. Maybe he does a certain amount of combos, or he something of that nature, and his domain activates, and then his special thing would be, as the infinite void kind of draws people in and fills them up with infinite information, instead of obviously the anime side, which that would not work in a game, just imagine him kind of always using gravity against you, so his domain makes you pull in. You're constantly being sucked near Gojo, kind of like that. That would also be a pretty cool factor. Now, one character, it is from the manga, so I'm going to have to use this kind of the best spoiler-ish way, because that's kind of the best way I can describe this one. Would also, and I'm going to put a time skip, I'm going to skip it because I'm going to use another example. We're going to use Sakari Kenji, his domain. The fact that he hit the jackpot, just imagine when his domain is activated, or his gimmick, just imagine that the whole arena changes. He has the whole pachinko machine in the background, and after a certain amount of time or combos, Hakari has a chance to hit a jackpot, and that jackpot basically gives him a little bit of a buff. Maybe his health comes back very slowly, but only for a certain amount of time. Just imagine things like that implemented in the game. I think that would be so sick. Now, for someone like a Jogo, who we've seen his domain, which is fire based, imagine you have the whole scenario changed and his domain is for fire, and maybe his fire techniques actually get a boost in strength whenever he uses his specific fire techniques in a combo. Like certain things like that, I could just envision being easy to kind of implement into his system as well. You can even implement a little tag system. For example, if you have someone like Toto, his clap would actually do something different, because in a regular scenario one-on-one, Toto would swap positions with his opponent, in a fighting game. Now imagine you're in a tag team. This gives you the option with Toto, if Toto's out on the arena stage, every time he claps, he gets a free switch in. He can keep switching in for a certain amount of time. Like certain things like that. There's just a lot you can do with, I think, like the Jujutsu Kaisen cast, or last scenario, or the last freaking example I came up with was actually Choso. Now Choso doesn't really run out of blood, but for game standards you kind of have to make it somewhat fair, is that Choso will actually get a buff when he uses his flowing red scale. And when flowing red scale is activated, his blood moves pretty much come out faster, his piercing blood charges up a lot quicker, and he will continue to lose blood, and once that blood is gone, then he'll have to recharge. It's so much you can do and come up with in a game, and I think they would nail this if they went kind of Persona 4 route and kind of just have fun with it and still have that competitiveness factor still in there. I think Arc System Works would do a great job with doing this. Now, will this happen? Probably not. So yeah, in terms of the game format and everything when it comes to Jujutsu Kaisen, the console game I would love, that's what I came up with. Now in the comment section down below, if you agree, let me know in the comment section, and also kind of give me your own thoughts. Who do you personally want working on it? If you actually want CT2 to work on it, hey, leave it in the comment section and why. If you want Arc Systems work, go ahead. Or if there's a company that I don't know about or haven't listed, hey, go ahead and put them in there too. Let me inform me on who that is. But yeah, leave a like and subscribe. Got a whole bunch of JJK content as well as other new anime and manga content coming as well. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.